CIET NCERT presents audiobook Beehive.
Now let us listen to chapter number 3, The Little Girl, written by Catherine Mansfield, from page number 32 to 40. Introduction. The Little Girl. The aim in this unit is to first read through the story at one go, not worrying about difficult words or difficult language. Students can read the story for homework and come to class, or the teacher can read out the story in class, or the students can read out parts of the story in the class, one after the other. Let them retell the story again, if necessary, in parts. The dictionary exercise in this unit shows how a very small common word can be used in different ways. Students might be interested in thinking about how they use words in their own language to express these meanings. They may also think of other words like same, small, give, and take to convey different kinds of meaning. Encourage them to consult a dictionary. This is a story about the changing attitude of a girl child towards her father. The speaking and writing exercises encourage the students to think about the relationship between children and parents. The students should be encouraged to say or write what they think and not what the teacher thinks they should say or write. The aim is not to arrive at a correct answer, but to let every child voice an opinion and express his or her ideas. It is hoped that children will find the topic of personal relevance. This will help their ideas and language to flow freely. This will help their ideas and language to flow freely. The Little Girl. Before you read, do you feel you know your parents better now than when you were much younger? Perhaps you now understand the reasons for some of their actions that used to upset you earlier. This story about a little girl whose feelings for her father change from fear to understanding will probably find an echo in every home. Now let us listen to the chapter, The Little Girl. Paragraph 1. To the little girl, he was a figure to be feared and avoided. Every morning, before going to work, he came into her room and gave her a casual kiss, to which she responded with, "Goodbye, father." And oh, there was a glad sense of relief when she heard the noise of the carriage growing fainter and fainter down the long road. In the evening, when he came home, she stood near the staircase and heard his loud voice in the hall. "Bring my tea into the drawing room. Hasn't the paper come yet? Mother, go and see if my paper's out there. And bring me my slippers." Paragraph 2. Kezia, mother would call to her. If you are a good girl, you can come down and take off father's boots. Slowly, the girl would slip down the stairs, more slowly, still across the hall, and push open the drawing room door. By that time, he had his spectacles on and looked at her over them in a way that was terrifying to the little girl. Well, Kezia, hurry up and pull off these boots and take them outside. Have you been a good girl today? I don't know, father. You don't know? If you stutter like that, mother will have to take you to the doctor. Paragraph 3. She never stuttered with other people. Had quite given it up. But only with her father, because then she was trying so hard to say the words properly. What's the matter? What are you looking so wretched about? Mother, I wish you taught this child not to appear on the brink of suicide. Here, Kezia, carry my teacup back to the table carefully. He was so big, his hands and his neck, especially his mouth when he yawned. Thinking about him alone was like thinking about a giant. Paragraph 4. On Sunday afternoons, grandmother sent her down to the drawing room to have a nice talk with father and mother. But the little girl always found mother reading and father stretched out on the sofa, his handkerchief on his face, his feet on one of the best cushions, sleeping soundly and snoring. She sat on a stool, gravely watched him until he woke and stretched and asked the time, then looked at her. Don't stare so, Kezia. You look like a little brown owl. One day, when she was kept indoors with a cold, her grandmother told her that father's birthday was next week and suggested she should make him a pincushion for a gift out of a beautiful piece of yellow silk. Paragraph 5. Laboriously, with a double cotton, the little girl stitched 3 sides. But what to fill it with? That was the question. The grandmother was out in the garden, and she wandered into mother's bedroom to look for scraps. On the bed table, she discovered a great many sheets of fine paper, gathered them up, tore them into tiny pieces, and stuffed her case, then sewed up the 4th side. That night, there was a hue and cry in the house. Father's great speech for the Port Authority had been lost. Rooms were searched, servants questioned. Finally, mother came into Kezia's room. Kezia, I suppose you didn't see some papers on a table in our room. Oh yes, she said. I tore them up for my surprise. What? Screamed mother. Come straight down to the dining room this instant. Paragraph 6. And she was dragged down to where father was pacing to and fro, hands behind his back. Well, he said sharply. Mother explained. He stopped and stared at the child. Did you do that? No, she whispered. Mother, go up to her room and fetch down the damned thing. See that the child's put to bed this instant. Paragraph 7. Crying too much to explain, she lay in the shadowed room, watching the evening light make a sad little pattern on the floor. Then father came into the room with a ruler in his hand. I'm going to beat you for this, he said. Oh, no, she screamed, hiding under the bedclothes. He pulled them aside. Sit up, he ordered, and hold out your hands. You must be taught once and for all not to touch what does not belong to you. But it was for your birthday. Down came the ruler on her little pink palms. Paragraph 8. Hours later, when grandmother had wrapped her in a shawl and rocked her in the rocking chair, the child clung to her soft body. What did God make fathers for? She sobbed. Here's a clean hanky, darling. Blow your nose. Go to sleep, pet. You'll forget all about it in the morning. I tried to explain to father, but he was too upset to listen tonight. But the child never forgot. Next time she saw him, she quickly put both hands behind her back, and a red color flew into her cheeks. Paragraph 9. The McDonalds lived next door. They had 5 children. Looking through a gap in the fence, the little girl saw them playing tag in the evening. The father with the baby, Mao, on his shoulders, the 2 little girls hanging onto his coat pockets, ran round and round the flower beds, shaking with laughter. Once she saw the boys turn the hose on him, and he tried to catch them, laughing all the time. Then it was she decided there were different sorts of fathers. Suddenly, one day, mother became ill, and she and grandmother went to hospital. The little girl was left alone in the house with Alice, the cook. That was all right in the daytime, but while Alice was putting her to bed, she grew suddenly afraid. Paragraph 10. What'll I do if I have a nightmare? She asked. I often have nightmares, and then Granny takes me into her bed. I can't stay in the dark. It all gets whispery. You just go to sleep, child, said Alice, pulling off her socks. And don't you scream and wake your poor pa. But the same old nightmare came. The butcher with a knife and a rope, who came nearer and nearer, smiling that dreadful smile, while she could not move, could only stand still, crying out, "Grandma, Grandma!" She woke shivering to see father beside her bed, a candle in his hand. "What's the matter?" he said. Paragraph 11. Oh, a butcher, a knife. I want Granny. He blew out the candle, bent down, and caught up the child in his arms, carrying her along the passage to the big bedroom. A newspaper was on the bed. A half-smoked cigar was near his reading lamp. He put away the paper, threw the cigar into the fireplace, then carefully tucked up the child. He lay down beside her. Half asleep still with the butcher smile all about her it seemed, she crept close to him, snuggled her head under his arm, held tightly to his shirt. Then the dark did not matter. She lay still. "Here, rub your feet against my legs and get them warm," said father. Paragraph 12. Tired out, he slept before the little girl. A funny feeling came over her. Poor father, not so big after all, and with no one to look after him. He was harder than grandmother, but it was a nice hardness. And every day he had to work and was too tired to be a Mr. MacDonald. She had torn up all his beautiful writing. She stirred suddenly and sighed. "What's the matter?" asked her father. "Another dream?" "Oh," said the little girl, "my head's on your heart. I can hear it going. What a big heart you've got, father dear." Word meanings. A figure to be feared means a person to be feared. Slip down means come down quietly and unwillingly. Given it up means stopped doing it. Wretched means unhappy. On the brink of suicide means about to commit suicide. Laboriously means with a lot of effort or difficulty. Wandered into means went into by chance. Scraps means small pieces of cloth or paper, etc., that are not needed. Hue and cry means angry protest. Tag means a children's game of catching one another. Nightmare means a bad dream. Tucked up means covered up nicely in bed. Snuggled means moved into a warm, comfortable position close to another person. Thinking about the text. Question number 1. Given below are some emotions that Kezia felt. Match the emotions in column A with the items in column B. Column A contains 1. Fear or terror. 2. Glad sense of relief. 3. A funny feeling, perhaps of understanding. Column B contains 1. Father comes into her room to give her a goodbye kiss. 2. Noise of the carriage grows fainter. 3. Father comes home. 4. Speaking to father. 5. going to bed when alone at home. 6. Father comforts her and falls asleep. 7. Father stretched out on the sofa, snoring. Question number 2. Answer the following questions in 1 or 2 sentences. 1. Why was Kezia afraid of her father? 2. Who were the people in Kezia's family? 3. What was Kezia's father's routine? A. Before going to his office? B. After coming back from his office? C. On Sundays. 4. In what ways did Kezia's grandmother encourage her to get to know her father better? Question number 3. Discuss these questions in class with your teacher and then write down your answers in 2 or 3 paragraphs each. 1. Kezia's efforts to please her father resulted in displeasing him very much. How did this happen? 2. Kezia decides that there are different kinds of fathers. What kind of father was Mr. MacDonald, and how was he different from Kezia's father? 3. How does Kezia begin to see her father as a human being who needs her sympathy? Thinking about language. First, look at the following sentence. There was a glad sense of relief when she heard the noise of the carriage growing fainter. Here, glad means happy about something. Glad, happy, pleased, delighted, thrilled, and overjoyed are synonyms, which means words or expressions that have the same or nearly the same meaning. However, they express happiness in certain ways. Read the sentences below. She was glad when the meeting was over. The chief guest was pleased to announce the name of the winner. Question number 1. Use an appropriate word from the synonyms given above in the following sentences. Clues are given in brackets. She was blank by the news of her brother's wedding. Bracket start. Very pleased. Bracket close. 2. I was blank to be invited to the party. Bracket start. Extremely pleased and excited about. Bracket close. 3. She was blank at the birth of her granddaughter. Bracket start. Extremely happy. Bracket close. 4. The coach was blank with his performance. Bracket start. Satisfied about. Bracket close. 5. She was very blank with her results. Bracket start. Happy about something that has happened. Bracket close. Question number 2. Study the use of the word big in the following sentence. He was so big, his hands and his neck especially his mouth. Here, big means large in size. Now, consult a dictionary and find out the meaning of big in the following sentences. The first one has been done for you. 1. You are a big girl now. Here, big means older. 2. Today, you are going to take the biggest decision of your career. Blank. 3. Their project is full of big ideas. Blank. 4. Cricket is a big game in our country. Blank. 5. I am a big fan of Lata Mangeshkar. Blank. 6. You have to cook a bit more, as my friend is a big eater. Blank. 7. What a big heart you have got, father dear. Blank. Second, verbs of reporting. Study the following sentences. What? Screamed mother. No, she whispered. Sit up, he ordered. The italicized words are verbs of reporting. We quote or report what someone has said or thought by using a reporting verb. Every reporting clause contains a reporting verb. For example, he promised to help in my project. How are you doing? Seema asked. We use verbs of reporting to advise, order, report statements, thoughts, intentions, questions, requests, apologies, manner of speaking, and so on. Question number 1. Underline the verbs of reporting in the following sentences. 1. He says he will enjoy the ride. 2. Father mentioned that he was going on a holiday. 3. No one told us that the shop was closed. 4. He answered that the price would go up. 5. I wondered why he was screaming. 6. Ben told her to wake him up. 7. Ratan apologized for coming late to the party. Question number 2. Some verbs of reporting are given in the box. Choose the appropriate verb and fill in the blanks in the following sentences. The verbs of reporting are were complaining, shouted, replied, remarked, ordered, suggested. 1. I am not afraid, blank, the woman. 2. Leave me alone, my mother, blank. 3. The children, blank, that the roads were crowded and noisy. 4. Perhaps he isn't a bad sort of a chap after all, blank, the master. 5. Let's go and look at the school ground, blank, the sports teacher. 6. The traffic police, blank, all the passers-by to keep off the road. Speaking. Form pairs or groups and discuss the following questions. 1. This story is not an Indian story. But do you think there are fathers, mothers, and grandmothers like the ones portrayed in the story in your own country? 2. Was Kezia's father right to punish her? What kind of a person was he? You might find some of these words useful in describing him. Undemonstrative, loving, strict, hardworking, responsible, unkind, disciplinarian, short-tempered, affectionate, caring, indifferent. Writing. Has your life been different from or similar to that of Kezia when you were a child? Has your perception about your parents changed now? Do you find any change in your parents' behavior vis-a-vis yours? Who has become more understanding? What steps would you like to take to build a relationship based on understanding? Write 3 or 4 paragraphs of about 150 to 200 words discussing these issues from your own experience.
You were just listening to this chapter from Beehive, presented by CIET NCERT, New Delhi, India.